Exploring a chilling alternate history. What if Hitler won World War II? Exploring a chilling alternate history. The Second World War was one of the deadliest conflicts in human history, reshaping the world order and leaving behind scars that still linger today. But what if the outcome had been different? What if Nazi Germany, under Adolf Hitler, had emerged victorious? This chilling alternate history scenario forces us to confront a world where fascism dominates, democracy crumbles, and humanity faces an unimaginable nightmare. The turning points. How could Hitler have won? For Germany to win World War II, several key events would have needed to unfold differently. Britain surrenders after Dunkirk, 1940. If the British Expeditionary Force had been completely destroyed at Dunkirk, Churchill's resolve might have weakened. A successful German invasion, Operation Sea Lion, could have forced Britain into a negotiated peace, leaving Hitler free to focus on the East. Germany avoids war with the Soviet Union, no Operation Barbarossa. Had Hitler honored the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact and not invaded the USSR, Germany could have consolidated power in Europe without a two-front war. Alternatively, if the Nazis had defeated the Soviets quickly, before winter 1941, they could have seized vast resources and slave labor. Japan doesn't attack Pearl Harbor, US stays neutral. If Japan had focused solely on Asia and not provoked the US, America might have remained isolationist. Without US intervention, Germany could have prolonged the war in Europe. Nazis developed the atomic bomb first. If Germany's nuclear program had succeeded before the Manhattan Project, Hitler could have used atomic blackmail to force Allied surrender. A Nazi-dominated world. What would it look like? 1. Europe under the Third Reich totalitarian rule. All of Europe would be under Nazi control, with puppet governments in occupied nations. The Holocaust expanded. The genocide of Jews, Romani, disabled people, and other undesirables would have continued on an even larger scale. Slave labor economy. Millions of Slavs and other inferior races would be enslaved to fuel Germany's industry. 2. America and the Western Hemisphere. Isolationist US. If the US never entered the war, it might have remained neutral but under constant threat. Nazi influence in Latin America. Pro-Axis regimes, like Argentina's, could have spread fascism across the continent. 3. Africa and the Middle East. Colonial shakeup. Germany might have seized French and British colonies, expanding its Lebensraum, living space, into Africa. Arab alliances. Hitler supported Arab nationalism against British rule. A Nazi victory could have led to pro-German regimes in the Middle East. 4. Asia under Japanese-German alliance. Japan's Greater East Asia County prosperity sphere. With no Allied resistance, Japan would dominate China, Korea, and Southeast Asia. Possible Nazi-Japanese conflict. Eventually, Hitler's racial ideology might have led to war with Japan over control of Asia. Technological and cultural nightmares. Advanced but twisted science. Nazi scientists, free from ethical constraints, might have pioneered horrific medical experiments, advanced rocketry, and even space exploration. Eugenics as law. Forced sterilization, selective breeding, and genetic purification would be global policy. Suppression of free thought. Art, literature, and education would be strictly controlled to promote Nazi ideology. Resistance and revolt. Would the Nazi Empire last? Even in victory, the Nazi regime would face challenges. Internal power struggles. Hitler's inner circle was full of rivalries: Himmler, Göring, Goebbels. A post-victory purge was likely. Partisan warfare. Underground resistance movements, like the Polish Home Army, would continue fighting. Economic collapse. The Nazi economy relied on plunder. Without constant conquest, it could collapse. A world we thankfully avoided. Nazi victory in World War II would have been a catastrophe for human freedom, morality, and progress. While alternate history is speculative, this scenario reminds us how close the world came to tyranny, and why the defeat of fascism was essential for the future of humanity. Would resistance have eventually toppled the Nazis? Or would we still be living in their shadow today? The answers are terrifying to consider.